What ET civilizations currently that you're allowed to talk about are connected to humankind?
So probably the best candidate to talk about there is a group called the Cortium. The Cortium are a humanoid species. They look very, very similar to you and I. Again, they have a slightly enlarged cranium compared to you or I. So if one were wearing a hat, you might not be able to notice, but that's a big maybe. So they otherwise are incredibly similar.
So they could walk amongst us and it'd be really difficult for us to see them.
Yeah, it would be, for sure. They're also psionically capable enough that you wouldn't maybe see the extra cranium. You might just see a regular person's skull if they walk past you on the street.
What's their main focus here, and what are they looking to do to help us?
They joined up with U.S. military forces back in the 1960s to try and help us with some of our engineering technological solutions. There were a couple species that came along after we'd made our agreement, our bad agreement with the Zetas.
And what year was that?
I want to say this would have been like between 1963, 1964, before 1965, I would say. So
then who came right after them? Because now we're talking about, you said, additional species that helped.
Right. Like I said, the Cortium showed up and came along and gave us some information about the Zetas that we did not have before. And we're really nice about it. They didn't come along and say, oh, you made a bad deal, you got to go back on that. They were like, sorry you made a crappy deal. Let's see if we can help you weasel your way out of this over, maybe in the next decade or two, because maybe you can weasel out of it. So they helped us in a very technologically sound and legally sound way, helped us weasel out of a very bad agreement and a very bad treaty with the Zetas. So
seems like a very civilized action they allow us to do.
They are a very civilized group of people. I would say that their entire existence is really about being more civilized and helping other species be more civilized.
And where are they from?
I think they're from Betelgeuse.
How long have they been interacting with humankind?
Well, like I said, at least since the 1960s, working with the U.S. military. But we do find most species have been here at least once, longer before. So they're usually someone shows up, they've been here before, whether it was 100 years, 1,000 years, 5,000 years ago. So they've been here before, but they started working with us currently in mid-1960s.
Are they still active?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Other than technology, did they share anything else, with us?
I think they were critical in helping us engage with the intergalactic political system, which again, at first everyone's about, we need information, we need technology, we need tools. But it became much more important to understand our own mental development was really critical there, and understanding the framework and this larger stage in which we were on socially, politically, that we needed to understand and get involved in, or we were just going to be piece on a chessboard being moved by someone else.
Do they ever speak about their belief systems?
They're very practical about getting along, working together for mutually beneficial goals, dispensing with, petty internal conflicting with one another. They're really about teaching individual species, look, you have more in common on this planet than you have not in common, certainly compared to everyone else that's out there. So how about you start working together and work together as a team here instead of fighting amongst yourselves?
Were there other species below them that were working with them to help us?
Sure. I don't know that I have a full, complete list of that. But
a few of them. Right.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is that it started out 40s and 50s. We were dealing with less than 3 different groups or species or organizations. That started to expand pretty quickly by the late 1950s to half a dozen, maybe. And then by early 1960s, that was closer to a dozen. And that number grew pretty quickly. But those first half a dozen or a dozen were showing up to try and help out after we had gotten into a bad deal.
Could you name a couple of them?
I mentioned the Cortium already. The Centauri, I think I mentioned them before. Well, we know that the Tall Whites, which is a hybrid group, they were also showing up about late 1950s, early 1960s to help with the programs that they were working out in the test sites out in Nevada. So Range 4 Harry and all that stuff.
Where do they come from, and what exactly is their agenda with us?